Oh, okay. There we go. Okay, welcome everybody. November 27th. Happy Tuesday. Tuesday after Thanksgiving. Quite an eventful time of year, right? An eventful time of the month. And it's our last week of the month. So lots of exciting things happening, I'm sure, for everybody, and lots of things happening in people's lives. So I want to congratulate all you for showing up today, because it shows how dedicated you are to yourself and to your business and to wanting to help other people have the health and all the good stuff that you've gained through the program. And so I'm glad that you're here, and I hope I can give value today. I want to start by thanking Mary, because she is our grand poobah, or as we call her, our great grandma coach is what I often affectionately call her. So we can all thank Mary for doing what she was doing, believing in the program, meeting Miriam, who flew with the program, and then all of us on this, let's say, leg or part of Mary's big community of people that she's helped, and coaches and clients that she's helped. So Mary, thank you for being amazing and being here for us.
Even if Miriam yelled at me, I was telling the story today, that when she first called me, she just said, "Okay, I'm gonna drive down. I'm gonna drive over to your house. Where do you live? And pick up the stuff." I was like, I don't. We don't have, we don't hold products. So she was actually very mad at me. So just remind her of that.
Yeah, she knows that, actually. And of course, I do want to thank Miriam for always giving me the opportunity to be here and to support through, let's just say, the challenging times and even the not so challenging times. I appreciate the opportunity to build my skill set and share what I've learned from my mentorship and from my experience. So as you know, the last couple of weeks, we've all been talking together about sharing techniques, useful client coaching techniques, as well as tech tips. And so I wanted to kind of continue that today. That for me is a nice in. I feel like we always have what to learn in terms of how to mentor coaches, as well as how to coach our clients. And this is an awesome time of year to really develop our skill set, because it's challenging for many people. And it's a great time to kind of bring those skills together. So is there anyone here that has a question, something that you are finding that's challenging for you? Or an area that you'd like to learn more about, get better at, that we can maybe bring right to the floor? Because everyone's got experience here and everyone has what to contribute. Come on. I know there are things you think about. I see Susie smiling. I do. Okay, then I'm going to move forward. Let's go with the tech tip first. Do any of you find, like I've been finding lately, that as busy life gets, like we want to become more efficient in how we're coaching? And you find that you repeat things all the time, right? And there are things that you say and you repeat it. And so if you had a shorter way to do that, it would help. It would really be great, right? So we can coach more people and really be more efficient. So Cindy, I texted you because you have an Android. Yes. And the thing that I mentioned before, I don't think we talked a lot about, but I'd love to help you guys with, is text replacement. What is it called on the Android? Do you know?
You know, I used to know where to find it, but in my new phone, my new Android, I can't find it. I went looking for it in the settings. It used to be in the settings.
Right.
And
Susie, have you found it yet?
Yeah. So I recently figured this out. Let me just see if I can.
All right. So while you're looking, let me tell everyone what that is. For those of you who don't know what this is, and it's a big time saver, do you guys coach and use a lot of texting? Right? Whether it's for the day 1, 2, 3 texts, your check-in text, confirming with someone before speaking with them. Are we on for 7 p.m.? We text, right? Maybe even say, have a great weekend to some people over and over and over again. You want to say, have a great weekend, right? I see Corinna shaking her head. Yay. Do you know about text replacement? So this is a really cool thing, okay? Text replacement is when you can put a key word in and then it brings in a whole phrase. So how do I use it and where do you find it? So I have an iPhone. Those of you who have iPhones, raise your hand. Ah, not many iPhones on the line. Okay. but we'll do it anyway. How many Androids? Okay. And I see Connie mumbling that you have one or the other. I'm not sure which one. But that's okay. So on the iPhone, it's called text replacement. And the way you find it, if you have your phone with you, and if you need to get it, I'll wait. But what you do is you go to settings. And after you hit settings, you scroll down a little bit to general. And after you hit general, you need to scroll down a little to keyboard. And the second line down on the keyboard screen says text replacement. So if you hit that, that's how you get to where you do it. Susie, you want to talk people through Android, and then we can talk about what to put in.
Okay, yep.
Awesome.
So, okay, this is just on mine. So you go into settings under general management, and you want to get, and then you choose language and input. Then you're going to look for keyboards, and you want to click on on-screen keyboard. There's a lot of clicking, sorry, but this is just how I figured out how to do it. And then once you're in the on-screen keyboard, you're going to choose your Samsung keyboard. And then you're going to look for smart typing.
I got it.
Raise your hand if you followed that.
Nice.
Only one. Does anybody want me to repeat it? Okay. Yes.
Oh, yes, Connie shook her head. Connie.
Or I can put in the chat. I can like put all the steps in the chat. Should I do that?
What did you say, Karina?
I have a question. So when you go into settings, is it like the original settings, or is it settings within the text messaging?
General management.
Regular settings. Regular settings?
Yeah, regular settings, top right-hand corner.
Okay.
Like, you know, the little gear thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in general settings?
General management.
General management. You have to go down pretty far. And then there's a thing called general management. And then under that, it'll say language and input. But you just click on general management. Then you click on language and input. Then you click on on-screen keyboard. Then on my phone, I choose Samsung keyboard and then smart typing. You eventually want to get to smart typing. And then it's called text shortcuts.
Yep.
So when you finally get there, then you click it on the top right. There's an add button. So you click add, and then you put in what the shortcut is going to be called. So that's going to be what you're going to type in. And then you find the text that you want to put in for that shortcut. And then typically you're copying from somewhere, and then you paste it into the expanded phrase, and then you click add, and then it's there.
Now you'll do the same thing on the iPhone. So you'll hit the plus sign, again, like add, and then your shortcut will be the word, and I'll give you an example in a minute, and then the phrase, like Susie said, you hit your home button on the iPhone, you go to pick up whatever phrase you want. So for example, if you want to do the texting campaign, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, you can write your shortcut, day 1, and then without a space on the iPhone, and then hit your home button, go open up your texting, copy, highlight and copy your day 1, and then come back and paste it into phrase, and then you hit save. So is that clear for people?
Yep.
First of all. Okay, awesome. So I can give you some examples of the things aside from the texting campaign that I do, and even show you perhaps what it looks like. You see what I have? Or is it backwards?
It's good.
Claims, right? If you can't read it. Client playlist. I have the link to the HOH calls. Client Zoom. Right? So you see how the word is. So, for example, when I say to someone, oh, by the way, the client Zoom call is tonight, and they're like, where's the link? I type the word in client Zoom, and then my message reads, here's the client Zoom link. Right? I don't have to write all of that. Or one of my favorite ones is I write as a coach, my Zoom, no space, And now I have, let's see, I'll tell you what the expanded phrase is for my Zoom. Click here to join my Zoom room. And I put a smiley face. And there's the link to my Zoom room. So 1, 2, 3, bam, join me in the Zoom room. It's right there. My Facebook, same thing. I copy my link from my Facebook page. I write, find me on Facebook, and then I have the link. Again, when I text anyone or private message them, it's just a 1, 2, 3. Many other things that and I guess this is the thing I want to share with you. I was not a technologically savvy person at all when I began coaching 6.5 years ago. I've learned it in baby steps, kind of like everything else. So as I use it, I learn. So don't drain yourself with trying to think of all the things you want to put in. Start with one thing at a time, or pick the texting campaign, for example, because that's a good one, right? Day before, the day of, your kickoff call, you could put them in like that. So 1, 2, 3, you don't have to cut and paste and open and close and do it the way I used to do it. You can use these fill-ins and the expansion or text replacement as it's known. Good?
I have a question, Jody.
Sure, Susan.
So I have the iPhone. So on phrase, you put in, say, day 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it says shortcut. Do you use that at all?
Your shortcut is the day 1. The phrase is you're cutting and pasting of, hi, it's day 1.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I put it in backwards then.
Yeah. So what I love the most, by the way, are links to things. So, for example, I'm looking now, I have the Healthy Exchanges list. I have the Habits of Health playlist. Now, the one disclaimer or warning I'll give you, sometimes you may pick a word that you actually use when you type a lot, and then it fills it in. So, for example, I wrote for Thanksgiving, by the way, my Thanksgiving message to people. And then my code was thanks with an exclamation. The way it works in the iPhone, once you hit the space bar, it now will fill it in. So I usually write TY for thank you, but for some reason the last few days I found myself writing the whole word thanks, and guess what happened? I'd hit the space and it would fill in. And what happened my first time learning this lesson, I used the word update. I used the word update for the whole long thing on how to update a Premier order, right? That cut and paste that we use in the texting campaign on how to update an order. But I used my code word, or my shortcut was update. Let's just say I think I use that word a lot. So I'd be texting to somebody, look forward to speaking with you. I can't wait to get your update. And all of a sudden it was whoosh. The whole thing went in. And now I had to highlight the whole thing, select and delete. And I thought I was paying attention as I retyped it, and whoosh, right again. So I've changed my shortcut for that now. I use the word edit. But if you use exclamation or other symbols, it will perhaps be better. So that's that tip for today. One other thing I want to add, and I'm watching the clock, moving on to clients. I think the way that we need to learn how to use technology, and I think for the majority of us on the line, we're in the 40 and above crowd rather than the 40 and below crowd of coaches. And so a lot of this technology is new to us. And many of the clients we coach are also new to this technology. So what's one of the main staples of our program that's so beneficial to people and you need technology for? Anyone? I think we talked about it on the last call. Come on, I like participation.
Support calls.
Thank you, Mary. You are an amazing student and role model. So the support calls are something that don't you find that people have trouble getting onto Zoom? Or the first time you get onto Zoom with them, it could be quite a learning experience, right? So one of the tools that I find to be really helpful, well, actually there are a couple of things. The first thing is when you have a new client and you sense that Zoom is new, or you ask them if it's new and they're hesitant, to give value to the Zoom calls. The next thing is to give kind of baby steps on how to get into it, right? So before maybe a kickoff call, you may want to do Zoom, and you may want to help them get onto it. Do an experimental kind of time, knowing it's going to take more time for most, although I think there's some people on the line here who got in seamlessly their first time. but for many it could get a little tricky with computer settings and stuff. So if you do a trial with people, if you see people in your clients in person, do it in person. If you make an appointment, when you have your kickoff call, maybe use it then even. So right from the start, you set them up with this. Let them load it with you on the phone. That would be the first part, is getting them comfortable with actually using it and getting over that hump of how to use it. Then the second part is getting the link. We have the same link every week. And although we send reminder emails, people shouldn't have to go scrolling through to find this link when it's the same one every week, right? So I would encourage people, I know Miriam does this and she taught me how to, is to copy and paste the way we just did it into phrases, copy and paste the Zoom link right into your calendar, which I think a lot of people do use their Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar or any of the calendars, the electronic calendars, and copy and paste it into the calendar at 8:30 with the proper link. And then a reminder, so it comes up. And then you can hit repeat. So you don't have to do it every week, but people who are not savvy at using the calendar might not know these very simple things. So when we can give them a concrete tool or tip and do it even with them on the phone, if they need that, boy, that was a valuable coach call. They're not avoiding your call the following week because you really had value. And the value got them on the call, which we know ramps everything up. Anybody have any, comments, questions, thoughts about that? I see you. You want me to unmute you?
I get it.
There
Hi,
you go.
Jenny. Hi, everybody. So thank you. That was extremely helpful. And I tried this phrase and shortcut before, and I just tried it with you now. And then I tried typing into the message day one because that's the one and it didn't work. So what am I doing wrong? And I have an iPhone just like you.
Yeah, so you know what? I can't actually answer that question because I've been using them for a while. I was using all my day one, my texting campaign, and this last week it's glitchy. I have days that I write day one, nothing comes up. But I do something else, it comes up. So of recent, it's been a little glitchy for me. I haven't had the time to Google it and try to figure out why that's happening.
Okay. No problem. No, because I just followed your example and I did day one and all it came up was day one.
Yeah.
That's all it texted.
Why don't you try something else? Like even if you, like for example, for those who are Sabbath observing, one of my most favorite shortcuts is SS. And I wrote Shabbat Shalom in Hebrew with a flower. And people must think I am really cool. But all I do is go SS and blink. There it is. So why don't you just try your own original something and see if that works. Maybe it's something to do with the copy and pasting from that document that we got to revisit.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Wait, before we take the next question, I'm just looking around and very excited, by the way, to see some new faces. So I want to welcome on, although I don't think it's your first call, it might be the first one that I'm acknowledging you. So both Noah and Mindy and Thelma, I'm so excited that you guys are all on tonight. And welcome to our coach call. And Roger, so glad also that you're able to make it tonight and be on with us. And everybody else, I'm thrilled that you're here too. So, but I'm glad that you're on. And please unmute yourself or put in the chat any questions that you have that I'd like to be able to answer. So we had hands with Mary, and I think Susan also had a question.
I just want to say that I really love the idea about doing the Zoom on the Journey Kickoff call because it really helps these clients not be afraid of it. You've got time usually because you set aside time to do those calls because we know that those calls are probably the most, probably the longest ones that we do. But it's also important that they feel comfortable with it so that when you eventually do a celebration call with them, with your mentor, that they already know how to do it. They're not afraid to do it. And it just is kind of seamless. I think to Zoom these celebration calls versus just do them by phone. I mean, either is fine, but I really love Zooming them because it's just really nice to see someone's face and it's a whole different connection that way.
And also, Mary, to your point, the one thing I want to add is when you're bringing your mentor on, and we all have our mentorship, we never know how busy everybody else is, right? We want to respect our mentorship's time. And I know I've been on calls where it gets glitchy, whether I'm the one hosting it or I'm a mentor coming on, and it could be a real time sucker. And not everybody has that time to be able to stay on an extra 15 minutes because that's how long it took to get it up and going. And that happens sometimes. So if we know that it happens sometimes, let's be, I guess, more professional and respectful and kind of get it out of the way and practice before. And, and I don't think there's anything wrong, Mary, correct me if I'm wrong, to be able to say to clients that let's practice this. My coach loves to get on Zooms, or my mentor loves, or my partner, whatever you refer to your mentor coach as to your clients, but love to get on Zooms. But, she's really busy. She helps so many people. And I'd really love to be ready for her, so because she'd love to meet you, that type of thing. Because that also sets the scene, right, for the respect of time, and it edifies.
Yep. And it also, sometimes we have calls back to back. So if we have a call at 3 and another call at 3:30, and it takes 20 minutes to teach somebody how to get on the Zoom, it kind of snowballs. So it's, if we can just do those Zoom calls from the start, it's just really great. It just works well all the way around.
And one other thing with that, and because I learned it myself, I was actually on a different computer, and today I had a trip up with the Zoom. I couldn't get the volume working for some reason on the laptop that I had. I think it's also important to know when to abandon. Like I went, after a few minutes, I was like off of here, and I just used my phone. It wasn't ideal, and I'm typing on the laptop, but I have my phone balancing, in order to make it work. But I didn't want to waste any more time. I was respecting the client's time. I didn't want to. It was a health assessment, a 3-way. So also know when, we'll do it and make light of it, make easy. We don't want people to feel bad. But no worries, we'll do it a different time. We'll practice it. I know she's on a tight schedule, and so let's just skip to a regular call if that's the case. Susan, go ahead, because I see we're at 9:29. So
Yeah. I was just curious, is it still recommended at all to use Synduit or not? Are people still using Synduit?
I gave up my account.
Yeah, I think that's a very personal choice. I think Jody, if you don't mind if I just comment on this.
I'm thrilled.
Okay, a lot of people have dropped it. I personally still have mine. Why do I have mine? For 2 reasons. I love the one campaign on Interested in Optavia, which gives a little 2-minute video on Optavia, but I also have not yet, shame on me, I have not yet transitioned over to the Optavia newsletter because I have so many potential people. And you talk about technology. I don't know how to import the Synduit to Optavia. It's just, ignorance on my part. And I have not actually done that yet. But I really think that Optavia Connect has almost everything that we can use. So I really see a lot of people stopping it, and I probably will very soon too.
Just curious. Yeah.
Mary, probably the same file you originally uploaded into Synduit, you can upload into Connect.
Cindy, that was a disaster for me. I'm telling you, it took me like a Labor Day weekend, 3 days to do that. I can't even, I'm like the worst. So don't listen to what I'm saying. It's pathetic.
I'm kind of thinking you need to find a 22-year-old, Mary.
I definitely do. Yes.
Maybe a 10-year-old.
Or 10.
Yeah, a 5-year-old.
It's frustrating. I know. It was hard for me too. I totally get it.
I stopped using the Synduit newsletter and only use the one from Connect.
Yes, that's good. No, that's wonderful. And everybody should be doing that. Like I say, I have such an aversion towards the word import that I'm a little slow with that. But I'll get there. I always do.
And I see a question just to answer it. For those who don't know what we're talking about, it almost doesn't really matter because it's almost a little outdated, I think, is what happened. Yeah. Take Shape for Life evolved into Optavia, and Optavia is a better version. And so there are more and more things, that they have kind of expanded to make coaching better and better for clients, and making our coaching experience also more seamless and full and responsive to clients' needs. And so, but along what preceded the Optavia version, And the Connect was an ancillary service called Cinduit that they partnered up with another company who really assisted with helping to keep in touch with clients, social media. It kind of is
Marketing, paid for marketing.
Say it again?
Paid for marketing.
Right. And so it was offered in association with Take Shape for Life, the predecessor, to add it on. So those who were coaching, primarily those who had larger, let's say, organizations or more people and were earning an income that they felt it would be valuable to add this in to make their life easier and paid for marketing, as Cindy says, did it. But what has happened is through Optavia and Connect, there are a lot of great things that now we have, and we don't necessarily need to purchase this outside source. So that's what
Is there any kind of automatic social media posting on Optavia Connect?
I don't do it. I know that it's offered there. Anybody here do it? Or is it alive yet? Because they're holding space, I think, for a lot of new marketing things to come. I'm not sure that they're all there yet. Cindy or Lenny?
Well, I just know that I can't do it off of Cinduit anymore. I used to be able to, and Cinduit won't post to my Facebook anymore.
Cinduit, okay, so all right, I mean, we can talk about this another time. Cinduit will not allow you to post to your timeline. It will allow you to post to a group. So what some of my coaches did is they created their own group just for them, and they just copy and paste over. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on Cinduit because I don't think a lot of coaches on the line are doing it, and it's getting to be outdated anyway.
Yeah. And I was going to say, for me personally, and I guess my little take on it is, I want to be duplicable. I mean, that's what Optavia coaching is all about. And so my sense was to not really use it, because why would I want to use it with a new coach that says, where do I get that, when we're starting coaches on using other things? So I'm trying to use best what's provided for us.
Right. I was also thinking of canceling, and I was trying to decide.
The reason I canceled is because I felt like I just didn't have time to invest in learning Cinduit. I wanted to take that time and invest it into learning the new things that were going on in Connect, because they just keep throwing new things in there.
Absolutely.
So I said, let me just, there's only so much time.
Okay, awesome. Great question. Okay, everyone good?
All right, thank you.
Oh, good. Thanks, Jody.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Listen,
Jody.
thanks for coming, everyone. Let's do this weekly. And, I'm sure whether Miriam's leading the call, or Mary, or myself, or anyone else, we'd love to have input on the topics that would be helpful. We don't want to be redundant with the trainings. And at the same time, this back and forth, perhaps a little bit more back than forth, would be really great. So add some questions in, PM anybody, speak to your mentorship, so that we can bring some questions here and really make this time valuable.
So Jody, thank you for the tech tips. I find that very useful. I had actually used to use the shortcuts and I couldn't find it. So again, and Susie found it on the Android, and that was great.
Awesome. Thank you, Susie, for that on-the-spot assistance. I appreciate that. So everyone, listen, have an awesome week.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
And see you next week.